Hello, everybody. You guys know I go live every Monday with someone, a great friend of mine who is a wonderful relationship coach, growth coach D, and he shall be joining in just a moment. But welcome, everybody. And for those that will watch later, we've been talking about some hot topics. Last week we were talking about, girl, you look good, but not in the sense that you were thinking. And so we broke down a whole lot of mental and emotional and issues surrounding it and how it's affecting relationships, how people see themselves and their self-image. And so I'm just waiting for Danny to come on. I'm super excited about tonight. We are going to be doing something that I do with my clients, and I was very happy that Danny is quite familiar with it. So we're going to break it down, and for those that want to pull it up, go ahead and pull it up. The Autobiography in 5 short chapters. So we're going to be talking about that. This is so deep. I actually used it today in therapy. And have you ever read a book in like 3 minutes? Well, that's that book. Autobiography in 5 short chapters. And we are getting ready to read it. We are getting ready to go through each chapter, but it's so short. Like literally, it's going to take us like 2 minutes to read the whole book, but then we're going to break it down and you'll be able to see how
Hey, Celeste Curry transforms. How are you?
how I am well. How are you? We are finally
We
on
are.
tonight.
Yeah, it's
Welcome, Ben
great to see
Clayman.
all who are joining us. You can let us know where you're joining from. I'm always curious to know where people are. So it's a big world. It's a big
Yeah.
world. But I was actually
It's a big world. You're breaking
okay.
up a lot, Danny,
Let me try to switch something off and
because this topic is so good. Oh, Connecticut. Okay, Ben Clayman, welcome from Connecticut. I'm from way upstate New York.
way
Not
upstairs.
too far. But yeah, live in Atlanta now, but my roots, that's where I am from. And so we are super excited about tonight. I was just telling them a little
How's
bit
my
of what
signal
we're going
now?
to be talking about.
Is
You
that
want
better?
to
A little
it's
bit
okay. It's okay.
better?
It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Yeah, still kind of pixelated,
It's
but it's a
crystal
little
clear.
bit better. And so,
Okay. Let's
really,
try it.
okay.
That's what it was fine where I did a live earlier today. It worked. But yeah,
Oh wow. Oh wow. It's something about
it
these
must
night streets. It's something
be.
about these night
I'm
streets
guessing
when you're in
it
them.
has something to do with all the people who are
Yeah,
on. In the morning, it's not like, but in the evening, everybody must be on trying to stream. I guess so.
everybody's coming on in the evening. So, but I am so excited. Can you give us a brief synopsis of what we talked about last week? Just like a 10-second version of it
So
because it was so good. So many people have had questions.
yeah, so it was kind of centering around a pet peeve. Not quite a pet peeve of mine, but I get triggered when I hear people say the phrase "girl, you look good." And not that I have any problem with people, getting glammed up and, showing off but it's a matter of how the emphasis is on the superficial. And we're so focused on people looking good and no one's really focused on being good and whether or not they're struggling internally with trauma, with pain, with anxiety, with depression. But girl, you look good. And it's just a little triggering. And then we were able to kind of tie in a couple of things that we were like, we're going to come back to that. We're definitely coming back to it. Stay tuned on this
Yeah,
"oh girl, you look good"
yeah,
things.
that was
That was good. If you
good.
missed that live, you need to go back and check it out.
You need to go back. It's on both of our pages. Go back. But tonight, drum
Yes,
roll.
yes.
We are doing. You are going to find out exactly where you are in
Mm-hmm.
this thing called life today. Growth Coach D, we are going to double team them with love in such a good way because the goal is to get through the whole book in your life as soon as possible to be able to move the needle. So we're getting ready to get to this book. Now, don't run away and think, oh my gosh, they're reading the whole book. It's so short. It is so very short, but so very impactful that we need you to comment. If you watch the replay, we want you to comment, ask questions. We will be going back to it. This is so very powerful. All right. You want to open it up? I'll open it up and we will start reading.
Ladies, go first with
now,
chapter 1, which is all of five lines.
Oh, right. Absolutely. And please forgive me. It's right over here. I just gotta grab it right quick. Okay?
As she's going to grab it, there we go. We just want to remind you guys, MindShift Monday happens every Monday evening and is available for the replay, where we recognize the power to shift our life by shifting our mind, our thoughts. And this what we're doing today, the autobiography in 5 short chapters, is all about that process of being able to evaluate where I am and getting to a better place. Because we believe in a higher power, but he's already come to do what he needed to do to save us. Now he's looking at us like, okay, now it's your turn. And so
save yourself. Like at InvestFest this past weekend, Puff said, they're not coming to save us. Save yourselves. So, okay, this chapter 1. And think about where you are as you listen. We hope that you pull it up with us. But if you don't, we're going to read it. But think about where you are in your life, where you want to be. Think about your bank account. If it's where you want to be and you have enough money to last you a lifetime, you can go ahead and get off the live now. Yeah, you might just have it together, right? We want you to stay. But, or are your relationships exactly where you want them to be? If not, stay tuned. Hold on. Is your health exactly where you want it to be? If not, we want you to stay tuned and stay right here. Because everything about this is getting ready to transform you if you let it. All right, chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. So let's break that down. I'm going to let you go first. So that's a lot. So what does this chapter represent?
Well,
to you, Danny.
For me, I couldn't help but to notice these I am statements. I think that two of the most powerful words in language is I am, because whatever comes after those words oftentimes is a self-fulfilling prophecy. We're speaking that state into existence. And we've walked down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost.
Oh, yeah.
It's I am helpless. And it's a state of victimhood almost. It's like, this happened to me.
It is.
There's nothing I can do about it. It's not my fault. And it's almost a woe is me. And it takes forever to find a way out. It's an unpleasant experience. And we've all had them. We all will face them. And to some extent, I think we all go through this phase of, everyone. I didn't do anything to deserve this.
At some time.
What about you in chapter 1? What were some of your takeaways from chapter 1?
Yeah, so that chapter 1 is so deep. I think you broke down some of it. The deep hole in the sidewalk can represent anything that keeps sucking you in, that makes life look the same year after year, month after month, day after day. You say you want more. You've been saying you want more for a long time. But doggone it, this deep hole in the sidewalk keeps calling your name. You fall in, and it isn't your fault. So the problem for me with chapter 1, one of the major things is it isn't my fault. Anything that's not your fault, you will never be able to change. You remember how we always say anything you're aware of, you can change. But if you aren't aware of it, you're not going to be looking for anything to be different. Don't step out of church. Don't step out of church on me, Growth Coach D. And so let me tell you
go
something.
ahead. I just needed you to say that part one more time. That you said that anything that isn't my fault. Can you say that part just one more time?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that isn't my fault, I can never change and do anything about. In fact, I'd rather it be all my fault. I'd rather something be all my fault and I'm in a position to do something about it so life can change, so my relationships can change, so my health can improve, so that my bank account can look like I need it to. But as long as nothing is my fault, then every day will be the same. You might as well say, if today was Monday for you, tomorrow's Monday too. And the next day is Monday, because it's the same thing. And so it's interesting because I can't wait for you to get the journal. The journal is all edited. I'm super excited. The Rewritten Mind journal. But one of the days of the journal is entitled, I Am the Problem. It's really deep. But for people that are in this chapter 1 phase, or actually a few of these chapters, I just want to say this to somebody before we go on to the next part. Just let it be your fault. What does it say about you? Rather it be your fault and you make some changes than live in the world that everybody owes me. Okay. I'd rather live in a world where nobody owes me anything. Right. And I don't mean that. I mean, no, nothing but love. Right. But walking around understanding that if I take responsibility, now I'm moving. That's why the Bible says a wise man loves correction, because they know what to do with it. So, all right. Anything else you want to say about that chapter 1?
Looking at what our goals are time-wise, I think it's best to move on to chapter 2, because we could stay there.
It is. Okay. Yes.
All right, let's go to chapter 2. How's my signal, by the way?
What you got?
Okay.
It's a little bit better.
All right, chapter 2. I walked down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out.
Sounds like chapter 1 2.0.
Yeah, break that down. Break down what you see in chapter 2.
Okay, so everybody, I need you to get this. If you don't leave with anything else, I want you to leave with something that you're going to curse us out about. Walk away living the life that I am the problem. Because you're the only person that you can change. Once you're the problem, God can step in and do his part. But as long as everybody else is the problem, your 7 days per week look like Monday. There's nothing comes after. So for me, that chapter 2, you said it when you said I walked down the same street. We're doing the same thing, expecting different results. That deep hole in the sidewalk represents past relationships that we think we've gotten through, just moved past. But as long as that deep hole in the sidewalk is right there, that relationship where it was in your heart, when you thought you became healed and good, you're not. You're not. You are stuck. So you're stuck. To me, chapter 2 is stuck. I still don't see it. You still don't see it because you're not the problem. Woo! Everybody else is. I fall in again. I fall in again because those same issues are still there and present. Everybody that was is still. Like, I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It's like, real, and you're still in denial that you're confused as to why your bank account looks the same as it did last year or the year before. I'm talking to myself too. It's like, come on now. Let's get out of it. Let's be done with it. And so, and then the last thing about chapter 2, It takes a long time to get out. It took a long time to get out the last time. But you're so distressed and weighted down when you finally get out. You going somewhere to sit down and then get right back in at the beginning of chapter 2. Okay, what did you get?
So walking down the same street describes what we do. I was just reading in Proverbs. It says, as a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats its folly. And we do some of the same dysfunctional thing. We all do. And the best thing that we can, I think that can happen is when we can acknowledge, you know what, I just did the same thing.
Yeah,
I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. It's 2.0. It's like you said, it's the same cycle. And we end up on the hamster wheel, expending a ton of effort and energy, and we're right back in the same place. It's like there's a line in the song that says, they say experience is the best teacher. That's what they teach us in school. But I say experience is the teacher of fools, because a wise man will learn from another man's errors, then apply that to determine what he shall choose. We should learn from experience. We should be able to learn without experience. But with experience, we should be even better able and equipped to avoid the same cycle. But if you find yourself repeating the same cycle, guess what? You got good company. Been there, done that.
You gotta be, that's right. At some point, just stand up and say, it's me. It's me. I remember, I actually tell this part in my book, but there was something that happened to me. I was the not me girl, just not me. Not me, not me, not me. I was the same. I was getting nowhere. I couldn't even be open to just paying some money for a conference many years ago. I really didn't understand my own worth. That was really the issue, but that's another lie. So, but I was working at a counseling center at the time, and the head of the counseling center, I had come in, and they were getting ready to have a meeting. And I said, and I had a client behind me, and I said, why does it look like, I'm a jokester. Why does it look like you guys are having a meeting? He went off on me like I was about 2 years old. Now, he was about 75 at the time. And he went off. It was crazy because I had a client standing behind me. Being professional, I didn't get back with him. I looked at him and I said, I have a client. I will be back. Long story short, I went and did my client. I walked into the meeting. The meeting was scheduled, Dan. They had put it in an envelope. I didn't open the envelope because I had attended all the meetings. So it was usually just the agenda, but they had attached something with the date for the next meeting. I sat in that meeting with tears in my eyes, hot as fire though. But the whole time I processed, I finally got it. And I said, I am the problem. I got up right after the meeting. I went into the office and I sat down, and he came in there apologizing. He said, I'm so sorry. That was so unprofessional of me. And he went on and on with this apology. And I said, you can stop. I said, thank you. Because he called me out. He said, you're disorganized and you didn't even know about the meeting. He was going off because I didn't see this piece of paper in the envelope. But what I didn't see, I was missing in other areas of my life too. I wasn't seeing in the other areas of my life that would really catapult me into success. It wasn't my fault. I couldn't see, just like they were saying, I can't see, I can't believe I'm in the same place. I went through all of that until he went off on me, and I said, no, thank you. And it had to happen. He looked at me like, whoa, what happened to you? And do you know, from there, my entire life began to change. That's good. It took one time. And when I tell you, I was in chapter 1 and 2 a long time. Everything was not my fault. That deep hole was there. It is, I don't know why this keeps happening to me. and other people. So I'm sorry, that was my
That was
long
good.
story that I told about how my life changed, how I was able to get to
Okay.
chapter
I,
3, 4,
I,
and then we'll talk
I
about
was going
5.
to ask you what
Go ahead.
chapter, but I was like, no. Let's not mess it up. Let's stay in order. All right. So you're up for chapter number 3. Go ahead and yeah.
Chapter 3. Now, everybody listen. Chapter 3 is this. Y'all know it's really short, so catch it. I walk down the same street again. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. It is my fault. No, yeah, it's my fault. I know where I am. I get out immediately. Go
Face
ahead.
palm number
Address that
1.
one.
But it's progress. And I need you to be okay with your
It is.
progress and your journey. And just being able to say that, you know what? I walked down that street. I did.
Yeah,
There's a deep hole.
I did.
I see it there. There's starting to be a cognitive awareness of the situation and of our power to
Yes.
not only identify, but avoid what we know is a pit. And that pit can represent so many different things. But, when we still
Yes.
fall in, it's like, all right, just man falls 7 times, but I know where I am. I know how to get up. Getting up, that's your power. Getting up is where the lessons will begin, if they haven't already begun to come to you. That you'll start to see, you know what, I found the same hole the last time. You know what, I'm getting up. I'm starting to be familiar with the pit. I'm starting to be familiar with the way out of the pit. And it's getting to the point where now I know where I am. And I'm starting to figure out that I don't have to be here. Even though
I
I
don't
am.
have to.
Like,
Yeah, I don't have to be. Yeah, and that's deep. That's good. I don't have to be. So everybody on this live, if there's something you don't like, it doesn't have to be that way. If you watch the replay, put in there, I don't have to live like this anymore. And the deep part about it, as we'll see in a minute, is that literally we call these our mind shift Mondays, because literally a shift of the mind opens a door. You know how they say open sesame, sesame. And so, and that door opens, that magic word is really I'm the problem. And so, yeah, so that's good. That's good. I mean, I really can't say much else about chapter 3. You said it all. It's a habit. So the habit hasn't changed yet. I'm aware, and anything I'm
come on.
aware of, I can change. There are some things I really didn't like. I even noticed after I had gotten through all these chapters, as God began to elevate me, I noticed that in this new room that he has me in, that I started out like on chapter 3, not on chapter 1, because now it's a different set of things. We have different people in a room. And then you still kind of have to keep yourself from struggling with the old people that you're trying to take everybody through the door with you. That's me, always trying to take everybody through the door with me. And so, but you really can't get to another chapter completely until this is a whole nother live we won't address now. You can't take everybody into the next chapter. And then if you do, the time has to be intentional that you spend with them. It can't just be anything, because everything is going to help determine your mindset and your success, or take you back to a previous chapter. So, okay, so that's chapter 3. Chapter 4, it's your turn. Read we're almost done.
4
So
more
quick look.
lines, 2 more chapters.
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. I walked down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. You don't say. I walk
There it is again.
around it.
I walk around it. That's good, because it might be the same street, it might be the same argument, it might be the same person, it might be the same money in your account, it might be the same health issue. But when you're on chapter 4, you not only are completely aware of it, you see something wrong with it, you actually have taken responsibility, you recognize it's the same old, and I want something different. Even though the issues are still present, but now they don't get to suck you in like they used to.
That's good.
You walk around them. You see them. You see the naysayers. You see the haters. You see the, if the bank account is low, but you're in a different position now. So you see that things can do and will change, and that you have the power to do it like that. And I'm not telling you about what I think, I'm telling you about what I know. So you can walk around those issues. Don't get sucked into the meaningless conversations. You know what I'm saying? The things that don't mean anything. I always ask, if I find myself getting into a conversation that really is not going anywhere, I'm like, hold, okay, just let them have it. I'm not perfect at it, but it's good. So chapter 4 is really short. What did you think about chapter 4?
Oh man. So I love the only thing that's different about chapter 4 is walking around the hole. So there's the acknowledgement of it. You're still kind of around it. You're still in proximity to whatever that hole represents. But you're able to avoid falling into the hole. So it's a state of progress, and that's what I'm always about, and with even my handle, Growth Coach D. I'm always encouraging people growth, not progress. Perfection doesn't exist except in the heavenly of heavenlies. If you can just get a little bit better, everything except Almighty God can improve. And if we can just get a little bit better at what it is that we do, where it is that we are, and how we interact with each other, what more can you ask for? So that's
I love it. I love it. So
Let's
can we
go.
read chapter 5 together?
Let's get it.
You ready?
Yep.
You ready?
Yep. This is long.
Everybody ready
Y'all
for
gonna be
this?
here for another 2 hours for all 6 words. All right.
Ready?
I walk down
a different street. That's it. We've had that option the whole time. But when you're living in denial, when you can't see yourself at all, when it is everybody else's fault, right? When other cultures haven't done enough. Now, not that I don't believe we, deserve something, but we sure don't need to be waiting on it, right? So when you see that let me just, like we've talked about before, that relationship, that deep hole represents every organ in your body has to respond to every ounce of toxicity. So instead of falling in the hole and hoping that somebody else is going to change and treat you better, get up out, walk down. You walk down a different street in the 4th chapter, but how about just walking down a different street? Like, we have that option. We don't realize that we do. Just walk down a different street altogether. That different street for me represents the new room that I talked about. I did this with a client earlier today. But and sometimes you're in between streets because you're walking from one to the other. So for me, chapter 5 looks like a whole new world that was always offered to me that I have forfeited. Do you see how I just took responsibility? Not because somebody didn't show up for me, not because somebody has, you and I both know some very affluent, wealthy people. Right?
Nope.
They don't owe us anything. They could call us tomorrow and say, hey, how about you come up and do such and such and be on the stage, right? Or they could call us up and say, can you do this? But if they don't owe us anything, and our path has already been set. So chapter 5 represents freedom for me. What does chapter 5 represent?
So for me, chapter 5 represents when that epiphany connects with our actual behaviors. A lot of times we see, we have the light bulb moment, but we're still kind of caught in the vortex. And chapter 5 is, okay, faith and works coming together. We just going down a different street. Yeah,
we just go.
That's it. It almost reminds me of that. There's a quote, I had to pull it up. It says, you cannot start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. And so you cannot start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Some of you are confused as to why you're stuck. You're stuck because you keep rereading that same chapter over and over and over again. And as long as you remain in this mindset of powerlessness, you're not going to be able to really get and harness your mobility, because you can get anywhere. But the first step to getting anywhere is to know where you are right now.
Yeah.
And once you're able to recognize, okay, I'm at the end of this chapter. Like this chapter is over. And you make that conscientious decision. It's then that you can begin to move and create your own destiny and walk in the next chapter. Yeah, that's it. Completely different speed. Completely different street.
So I have a challenge before we get off. I have a challenge for everybody here and everyone that will watch the replay, because we get a lot of people watching the replay. What can you take responsibility for that could really move the needle in
That's
your life?
Good.
Like, I remember when God told me to start apologizing to someone that was probably, if I had to say, most situations was probably, and I'm just making something up, 95% wrong on a particular issue. And the Lord told me, apologize to them. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to need another sign, because did you see what the person just did to me? Like, I'm confused. But I wanted to be obedient, and I love the idea of God using me. So I went and apologized. The person was straight confused, because they knew that they had messed up royally. And I went and apologized for my part. And I thought that God, by my obedience, that God would make the other person change. When I realized that that was not the reason why he was telling me to take responsibility for my part, he was growing my character. Because in chapter 5, that requires a different level of integrity. And people that are integrous, their bank accounts just come up like this, because God can trust them with it. Their health comes up like this. Why? Because they're not carrying stuff. They're not walking in unforgiveness. They're not reminding themselves of what other people did. Because ain't nobody got time for that in chapter 5. Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that in chapter 5. Chapter 5, we are about planting seeds, watering seeds, seeing the fruit, and keeping it moving. That we don't have time for unforgiveness. And so I just thank God for him showing me that. And I'm even talking to myself right now. I'm like, Lord, I really have some needs of my own and things I really need to see change. And I realize a lot of that is caught in just who I am and my character. And I'm open to what God has. But how would you like to close this out?
You said so much there, and I was trying not to interject, because I know sometimes it's a little delay. And I wanted to make sure you got your complete thought out. But you said something really important. And what it was is that you learned to take responsibility for your part. We're not suggesting that in apologizing to someone that you are owning what it is they've done. We're suggesting that, hey, there's a role that you played, own that. And when you own that, it can change everything. And that power that we have to choose our own destiny. Let your yay be yay, your nay be nay, and you create a reality. You create a new reality. You go down a completely different street. It's like, bye, Felicia. Like the hole is not, it's no longer going to be.
It doesn't even exist. And it doesn't even exist when you walk down a different street. That same street has the same people on there for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That new street doesn't have the same people on there. So what if they don't like you? They're not even going to be on the new street. It's like the new street provides for itself. Everything you desire, all the connections, all the people, all the health and the money and the answers and the resources are on that new street. That they can't even fit on the old streets with the same thought process. So I'm tonight, and I'm going to look at some things that I need to take responsibility for. You know, I need to take responsibility for, if I want to get to the next level, what can I take responsibility for? Look at my life, and what's the one thing, what's the thing that is triggering me the most when I think about why I'm not where I want to be completely. Whatever that thing is, let me find something within that I can take responsibility for. Because again, anything that I'm aware of, I can change, but I can't change anybody else. So that's my last little tidbit. And welcome to those that please go back and watch the replay. Those that just joined, there are some jewels, some gems here that people would pay big money for on this live. You got to go back and also pull up the autobiography in 5 short chapters. It's the quickest book, but so impactful about where you are in life and where you need to go. It's going to take you 2 minutes to read it. It literally is. It's funny that it's called a book, but it's an autobiography, which means it's yours. But what would you like to say?
I want to let people know that you are in control of your own destiny. You control which street you're on. Just like when you're in the car, who controls that car? You can control only one. That's your own. But when you recognize the power and you learn how to become better at what you can control, that can change everything and result in you getting anywhere that you would like to go in a life. And so just want to remind people, you're never stuck where you are. You can always shift. This has been Mind Shift Monday with Growth Coach D and Celeste Curry Transforms. Tune in next Monday. And remember, you have the power. When you learn how to use it, that can change everything.
Yep. Quickly.
Yeah. There you go. Everything quickly. All right.
Yeah. And make sure you guys share, like, and make sure you're following both pages. And share this with 10 people that you really want to see shift their mindset, that you want more for. If you love them, just want to see them better. So have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, Growth Coach D, for just being consistent.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
All right. Have